Ukraine's parliament has voted to dismiss the country's security chief and prosecutor general 2 days after President Volodymyr Zelenskyy suspended them for treason. He says they failed to purge Russian spies from their organizations. More on the situation in Ukraine, John Gambrell joins us from Lviv. John, let's get to that suspension in a moment, but first let's take a look at what is happening on the ground. Ukraine's army has warned there's a possibility of Russia stepping up airstrikes across the entire country. What are you hearing on that?
That's right. We've seen a Russian missile strike, a cruise missile strike that is, hit the Black Sea port city of Odessa today. Ukrainian officials say that 6 people were wounded in that attack. The Russians say that they hit an ammunition depot that was filled with American and European arms. The Ukrainians deny that, though. Their fire service put out an image today that appeared to show a residential home on fire as the firefighters fought to put out the flames. And meanwhile, in the east, we are still continuing to see pretty heavy fighting along that eastern front line that's been really the focus of the war over the last couple of months. In the city of Kramatorsk today, there was a Russian missile attack that struck an apartment complex, setting it ablaze. At least 1 person was killed there. And in Sloviansk, which is a city that's pretty close to there as well, there also was Russian fire and shelling hitting that city. All this comes as the Russians have been trying to take Sloviansk as well as Kramatorsk in an effort to encircle the Ukrainian front line and try to make a rapid advance. However, that hasn't happened. The Ukrainians are dug in pretty well and engaged in a long-term artillery battle with the Russians.
Let's get on to these high-level firings. The Ukrainian parliament has backed Mr. Zelensky's decision to fire the prosecutor general and the security chief. 28 other officials also suspended. Security chief, that until fairly recently a close ally of President Zelenskyy and head of security. What impact will these firings or suspensions have on morale, both amongst officials and amongst the people?
It's an interesting thing. These firings came over the weekend and were pretty shocking. These are 2 of the most powerful people in Zelenskyy's administration. One, the prosecutor general. She's known for prosecuting these Russian soldiers who've been taken captive by the Ukrainians, prosecuting them for war crimes committed, particularly in Bucha, that city that was hit when the Russians tried to take Kyiv early in the war. Now, the head of the SBU also was a childhood friend of Zelenskyy and even ran his presidential campaign. The fact that Zelenskyy took both of them out of their positions showed that he's willing to make a real change in his government at this point. That's at least what analysts have told us today. One thing to keep in mind as well is the SBU is the premier domestic intelligence agency in this country. It grew out of the Ukrainian KGB after the fall of the Soviet Union, but in recent years it has faced real criticism. One criticism is its abuse record when it comes to human rights. Another is the fact that early in this war, the SBU failed to protect the southern city of Kherson. There's allegations that the head of the SBU there actually defected to Russia. Meanwhile, the SBU also has faced criticism all the way back to 2014 in the initial Russian invasion that saw them take the Crimean Peninsula. And there have been allegations that SBU officers have been turncoat agents for Russian intelligence. Now, even today, President Zelenskyy has removed some of the regional heads of the SBU. That signals that there could be further changes afoot for what was the premier domestic intelligence agency in this country.
Thanks for that, John Gambrell, live there from Lviv.